for the frontline changes report, and we move into the strategic and tactical reporting. In the strategic tactical reporting, first I need to mention about the weather. If you look at the temperature situation over at Ukraine, which I'm not sure why the thing jammed. Okay, so you can see that in terms of precipitation, there is not much rain at all within the frontline region, which is over here. This is the major front line. There is some rain over the Zaporizhzhia region, which is going to cause some muddy situation, but it's not going to affect much because this is not where the major front line is. Whereas in the other part of the front line, there's not much rain. However, there is warm weather. So at Kherson is already 9 degrees, at Zaporizhzhia is 7 degrees, 5 degrees east of Zaporizhzhia, and even at Donetsk city itself is 1 degrees. So now it's all above zero, so things are going to get muddy if it starts to rain. So in Zaporizhzhia definitely is going to be a bit muddy right now. However, temperature have fallen over at the Kupyansk Front, Srysky Front, Severodonetsk region, and probably a little bit of Bakhmut. These are below zero or near zero, so we are going to expect at least some snow if there is snowfall. But definitely, if you look at the precipitation, there is none. So this is the weather situation which will affect the frontline activities. Because if it's too muddy, then assault will be much harder. Currently, the Russians are on the offensive. They are moving assault, and there is no rain. The weather is perfect tentatively for the major for ground offensive. So we're going to see how this progress, how the Russians are going to take advantage of this weather situation. And over at the Kupyansk Front, the Russian forces continue to attack over at Sinkivka. At Sinkivka and as well as Ivanivka. This situation continues according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Russians the Ukrainian counterattack over at Sinkivka. This is a pretty familiar sight. I'm not quite sure if you are following my reporting. This looks almost like any other day. So that's all from the Kupyansk Front. We've moved further south. Nothing at the Siversk Front. We move into the Kreminna Front. So at the Kreminna Front, situation seems to be on the Ukrainians' initiative. The Ukrainians are launching major attacks from Terny to Yampolivka to Torske to Dibrova and within the Siversk Forestry and in the north of Krychorivka. Russian forces are only focusing their attention on Terny and Yampolivka in terms of offensive actions. Definitely, they are also bombarding and defending themselves away from in the other front line where the Ukrainians are attacking, but the Russians' main offensive actions is over in this area here in Terny and Yampolivka. So this continues to be the main focus, whilst the Ukrainians are trying to push in other areas to try to distract the Russians. We move on to the Siversk Front. At the Siversk Front, there is Russian forces attacking Bilohorivka as per geolocated. The Russians are pushing forward. Airstrike was reported within Bilohorivka itself. Ukrainians are attacking towards Bilohorivka, the other Bilohorivka. So in this southern part, this is due to the way how they report. They are not reporting in the Liman direction. They're reporting on the more at the Bakhmut direction. So this is why this is reported. I report this as an attack against this Bilohorivka over here. So the Ukrainians are attacking over this direction. But we shall monitor and see how this goes. I think maybe it has something to do with Vasile. So that's why they are talking about fighting in the direction towards Bilohorivka. Information coming from the Russian Defense Ministry, as I mentioned, as I show you, in the Donetsk direction. So the other Bilohorivka, the one in Luhansk, is always listed as the Liman direction. So which is why it's a different one. As you can see, Belogorovka, and there's only one over here. So let's see how this progress. We move on to the Bakhmut Front. Over at the Bakhmut Front, as per mentioned in the Frontline Changes report, the Russian forces is conducting major offensive towards CHASIV Yar, and they are pushing along the highway and have captured the major forest region in the west of Kromove. So I'm not sure if they are pushing over at the city, at the settlement itself. There is geolocation of FPV attack in the Kreminna over here. Wrong color. I should use this color. Yeah, over this area here. And the Russians are also continuing their push towards Ivanivsky with geolocation of bombardment at at the frontline region at Ivanivsky. Then there is further geolocation of situations like Lancet attacks, as well as both are Lancet attacks against Ukrainian equipments and positions in the rear, south of CHASIV YAR. So this is the situation, the strategic situation in the northern flank of the Bakhmut Front. In the southern flank, the situation continues to be pretty much the standard. We have the Russians continue to be attacking Klishchiivka region as well as Andriivka region. So this is pretty much the strategic situation over in the southern flank. The Ukrainians are definitely not focusing in the southern flank right now, as attention is now being put all the way towards the CHASIV YAR direction, because the Russians are making a major push over in that region, and the new commander-in-chief of Ukraine, Srysky, has also indicated he actually visited the front line and actually given new instructions on how to deal with the developing situation. So they're gonna try something new. I'm not sure what it is. They talk about maneuver, some kind of maneuver warfare kind of thing, and we shall see how this progress, whether it works in their favor or not. And we move on over at this Niu-York Front. There is reports of this New York City. This is Torex, and there is fighting reported towards Pivnishny, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So they're attacking this direction, but I'm quite sure this is just probing or just some fire mission or positional warfare. I think you can ignore it. And we move into the Avdiivka Front. So this is Avdiivka City. Avdiivka Front, the Russian Avdiivka offensive continues, with fighting reported towards Novobakhmutivka in the north of Avdiivka, in the south of Avdiivka, at Povomaysky as well as Nevelsky. So this is the strategic situation right now. Ukrainians have sent reinforcement to Semenivka, Olivka as well as Leshtokine to build up a reserve force and to be sent into the Avdiivka city to relieve the forces over there. I'm not sure if this will end up to be a covering force for a withdrawal, or would they be sending in as reinforcement to continue to fight the Russians as per what happened in Bakhmut. So, or would they do the Russian thing? The Russians usually, when they send major reinforcement, is to actually to cover a major withdrawal. I'm not sure what is the Ukrainians' plan now, because with the change of a commander, they may change their way of fighting. They may change the concept of whether to hold ground or to trade space for time kind of thing. We're not sure. So we shall continue to monitor to see how the Ukrainians will behave, this reinforcement, and whether they will attack or they actually will create some kind of a buffer, like a corridor. They will push the front line in this way so that they can actually get their reinforcement, get their forces out from this trap, because it's looking this is going to be an entrapment, because the Russians are pushing in the massive pincer movement. So this pincer movement may close, and there is also another smaller pincer with the Russian forces pushing this way, cutting off the roads. Is still an encirclement, because it will be operationally encircled. The Ukrainian forces will not be able to use this road. This is not usable. They will have to use further south, and these are all dirt roads, and this will be like this. And clearly the Russian forces are already a little bit too near for these roads to be used. So this cannot be used. This is also not really usable. And if the Russians are here, there's totally no road out. It's basically a operational encirclement. So there is no way out if the Russians are able to push to the to this main road, the Industrial Prospect Road. So yeah, the situation for the Ukrainians are really bad, which is why looking at this reinforcement over this being reported at these three settlements, this reported by, let's see, Ryba. Ryba reported this, the Russian source, pro-Russian source. So this force here, the only sensible thing to do is to cover a retreat. If they sent in to do a counter attack, which is what a lot of people say Srysky is going to do, because a lot of pro-Russians say that Srysky is reckless and he's very willing to sacrifice men against this own statement, where he emphasized about saving lives, protecting the lives of their soldiers, which is what he said in many of his statements. We will continue to monitor to see what is exactly the same the situation. But if Srysky ordered a a general withdrawal from Avdiivka and build a front line, a new front line outside of Avdiivka, I would be surprised and in a pleasant way, because it will because then which will mean that the Ukrainians will start to to put their soldiers' life a bit higher in terms of importance, because the Ukrainians have been defending every inch of land as much as they can, and it has not worked out very well, particularly in the Battle of Bakhmut. And Avdiivka is actually a worse strategic situation as compared to Bakhmut. Other geolocations are actually FPV drones attack in the northeastern part of Avdiivka, and the Russian progress in this area here is actually now confirmed by geolocation. Russian forces is geolocated in these two locations, so this advance by the Russians is now confirmed, which also means that it's confirmed that the Russians have only less than a kilometer to that industrial prospect road, so or industrially prospect road. So this is actually very, 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 very critical. And we move on away from the Avdiivka front over the Donetsk front. This is the Donetsk front. At the Marinka sector of the Donetsk front, we have some geolocation of Russian attacking Ukrainian positions over in Marinka and just off Krasnohorivka. The main thing is over at Grigorivka, just off Marinka. This is Marinka. This is Grigorivka. The Russian forces is pushing in the south. There is rumors there's rumors right now from the Russian side that the Russians have actually captured this much ground, and maybe also here. This is not confirmed information. Ryba mentioned that there is rumors about this, but they cannot confirm it, so I will not confirm it. I will not even put it on the map, because it's just not confirmed. There's a high chance it's gonna be false information, but this is the trend. This is at least the rumors coming right now that the Russians have pushed to this point. So we will continue to wait and see how this goes. Lately, the Ukrainian mapping seems to be faster. Deep State UA is updating information much faster and revealing the latest information faster than Ryba is willing to acknowledge. Particularly in the northern Avdiivka situation, where the Russian forces have been drawn to have go all the way towards the center of Avdiivka already. Ryba actually put the entire area in the north is all gray zone. So so you can see there's some kind of slight difference between the two mappings, which is why it's good that DPA can cover all sides by covering the mappings and the reporting from all sides. Over at the Novo-Mikhailivka region, the latest rumor is that the Russians have captured 1/3 of the settlement, but there's just rumors. But the Russians are continuing the offensive over at the Novo-Mikhailivka region. The Ukrainian claims that the Russian forces has been pushed out is not acknowledged by the Russian side yet. So, and there is also geolocation or FPV drones attacking Ukrainian positions in their still more firm positions, because the area over in the center is pretty much a gray zone right now. It's a no man's land. So we will continue to monitor and see how this progress. And moving on away from Novo-Mikhailivka further south, we have no more information except that this frontline change, which I already mentioned in the southwestern part of Novo-Mikhailivka, is the return of the fighting at Zolotan Neva. So after a pause, we have a 31st to 3rd, there was this push, I was talking about it. Then they paused, 6th they start again, and then they paused. Now on the 9th, in the past 24 hours, the Russians are reportedly attacking Zolotan Neva again. So they are really very itchy to attack Zolotan Neva. We will continue to see how this progress as per usual. We move on from the Donetsk Front into the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is Zaporizhzhia city, and this is the Zaporizhzhia Front. Over at the Velika Novosilka sector, the Russian forces are counter-attacking or attacking at Prione, in the northern part of Prione, as well as Staromayovsky. So this is the strategic situation in this area here. After I just talked about Prione went quiet, yeah, they are not going to let me have it. So so this is the situation at Velika Novosilka. We move on over at the Orikhiv sector. This is the Orikhiv sector. The Russian forces are continuing their attack, and there is reports of Russian attacking west of Novoporovska, west of Verbove, as well as Robotine. Ukrainian forces counterattack in the south of Robotine, which I put this because of the frontline change. Otherwise, actually in the south of Robotine, if you look at the records, the last Ukrainian attack south of Robotine is actually on the 23rd of October. It's actually 4 months ago. So take this with a pinch of salt. It could be just the Russians are not taking these positions and the Ukrainians just walked in, or it could be the case where the Ukrainian mapping actually mapped it wrong and then now they're just correcting the situation. We will continue to monitor and see how this progress. And we go on to the Kayamsky sector. There is no fighting being reported in the Kayamsky sector region, except that there was just a geolocation of shelling by the Russian forces on Ukrainian positions north of Zaporizhzhia. It could be related to the previous report of the Russians attacking in the Zaporizhzhia region on the 7th or in the Petikaki region on the 6th. We shall see how this progress. And that's all from the Zaporizhzhia Front. And we move into the Kherson Front. So this is Kherson City and this is Kherson Front. At the Kherson Front, the Ukrainian forces continue to hold a small beachhead over at Krinky, wrong color, Krinky, and the Russians are reportedly still attacking it, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. There's no news regarding the situation, nothing special to talk about. In the north, there is reports by the Russian Defense Ministry of attacking Ukrainian territorial defense and the Marine Brigade. The 37th Marine and 121st Territorial Defense was attacked in Tyakhinka and Mykolaiv. So there is some shelling reported in this area here. More particularly interesting is actually a geolocation of Ukrainians' HIMARS getting destroyed on the western part of Davydiv Bridge. This is reported, this geolocation is reported by Criminal Caprice. Is geolocation of a video footage showing Shoigu, Gerasimov, and all the high-ranking in the HQ having this briefing, and then they have the video cam shooting at the projector screen, and they show it looks like some kind of a Iskander attack, some kind of a long-range ballistic missile attack against a target somewhere in Ukraine, and then a massive explosion against some perceived target that it looks like a HIMARS. I can't tell. They say it is what it is. I don't care. I'm just telling you that that is the geolocation. And that's it from the Kherson Front. And that's it. This is the summary for the day of 716 for the 9th of February. And thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and now I'm going to go into the conclusions. So some conclusion. If you want to watch the full uninterrupted SITREP all the way from the frontline changes to the strategic tactical report to the conclusions, all in one video with no advertisement, do support DPA on Patreon, Locals, Boosty, YouTube membership, and coffee. Become a DPA Sergeant, Officer, and General, and you'll get access to a totally uninterrupted and no ads SITREP.